ahead in the Glasshouse, our fearless leaders.
Kim, can you sum up your political career in, say, 5 words or less?
I'm embarrassed as an Australian.
Simon, your political career, 5 words or less.
I feel very hurt.
John, 5 words or less for your political career.
I did not know.
G'day folks, welcome to the Glasshouse, the program that asks the question, is Bill Clinton only in Australia because he heard our Prime Minister sucks? More news than Olsen twin fever this week. A new poll has found 50% of voters believe Australia has become a meaner place in the 10 years since John Howard became PM. The other 50% told the survey to piss off! Parliament voted to take control of the abortion pill, RU486, out of Tony Abbott's hands. Howard was disappointed, saying politicians are as expert as anyone else when it comes to decisions like this. Oh, and if you'll excuse me, I have to perform an emergency liver transplant in Dubbo. You sound a little bit like Max Walker for some reason. America has forgiven Vice President Dick Cheney for shooting his friend in the face with a shotgun, as long as he promises to take George on his next hunting trip. Pamela Anderson dropped in to spruik green M&Ms and ended up engrossed in conversation with Shane Warne at a party in Melbourne. He was teaching her about SMS. She was teaching him about home videos. They're quite similar, really. Blonde, slutty, a bit simple. And Warnie's even working on the big tits. Once he gets his pie consumption back up. The Pentagon is drawing up plans to bomb Iran's nuclear sites to stop them developing the bomb. Well, Rumsfeld draws the plans, George just colours them in. The Australian Defence Department has admitted buying a bunch of 40-year-old Sea Sprite helicopters was a $1 billion mistake. Apparently they clicked the wrong button on eBay. And at the Big Fella's memorial service, James Packer said even though his father didn't believe in heaven, he could still feel Kerry looking down at him, just like he did his entire bloody life. Congrats!
Grey Power News, old man Willa. According to a new study, only 31% of Australia's retirees will shuffle off with any savings left to pass on to the children. So kids, don't wait. Kill your parents now. Australian retirees spend all their money on pleasure. Their children are encouraging them to spend it on the pleasure of real estate and high return stocks, then take up skydiving, bullfighting and professional pensioner wrestling. But just to make sure there won't be any money left for their kids, some codgers are even developing expensive drug habits in their 70s and 80s. Oh, hey, mister, can you spare me 20 cents for an incontinence pad? But it makes sense to spend your savings. I mean, what point is there in working your whole life only to see all that hard-earned money go to the lazy bum who sat on your couch for 20-odd years calling you a dickhead behind your back? Then again, if I was a retiree, I wouldn't go around pissing off too many people who have a say about the life support machine.
Very angry this week. Dear. You know that events at the Winter Olympics are being postponed because it's snowing? I don't see any events at the Summer Olympics being postponed because it's sunny. I don't see yacht races being put off because it's windy. I don't say lawn bowl match has been postponed because it's grassy. I think you get me point, all right? The thing is, I love the winter. I love watching the Winter Olympics, except on Wednesday nights. Wednesday nights, I love the Glasshouse. Please don't switch over. Seriously though, and proudest moment for me, Aussie Dale Begg Smith won the moguls. I didn't even know about the moguls. You know about the moguls? Apparently it's when they bury dead billionaires down a mountain and the skis have got to jump over them all. And it's not only timing, you get on your style as well. You've got to keep your legs closed together. Apparently Dale's winning secret, he was going down the mountain going, opposite of Paris, opposite of Paris. Seriously though, and people say he's not Aussie. Oh, what? Just because he was born in Canada, he grew up in Canada, and he lives in Canada. Check his passport. Well, one of them anyway. He has an Australian passport. Seriously, he's as Aussie as bloody, you know, other Aussies. And he's even more Aussie because he wasn't born in this country, he chose to be Aussie. So he's more Aussie than Aussies. You know, I mean, he should be an inspiration to all those people in detention centres. Train hard and we're proud of you too.
All right, let's get to it. Joining me, Corinne and Dave, the Throws and Stones in the Glasshouse tonight, one of the hottest stand-ups in the goddamn free world, now starring at the Sydney Comedy Store from the US, Orny Adams! And author, very good dancer and media star, Dr. Cindy Pan. Movers and shakers. First up, an Australian tourist in Texas has been forced to plead guilty to assault after touching a woman on the shoulder and asking her to stop talking on her mobile in a cinema. This story involves America's two favourite pastimes, the movies and suing someone. When a woman nearby wouldn't hang up, Pauline Clayton touched her on the shoulder. The woman then exploded, shouting expletives and storming out before going to the cops and claiming Pauline assaulted her. A Texan overreacting? What would W say? Gotta love America. Tapping a stranger on the shoulder can get you charged with assault, but you can get off scot-free for shooting a friend in the face. Dave, mate, you've got a frightening temper. Was a tap on the shoulder too gentle?
Far too gentle. I mean, let's look at this situation. She's in a position of superiority because she's behind the woman, it's dark, and the woman's been distracted, she's on the phone. Should have hit her over the head with a hammer. Seriously. Tell you what, dead people don't lay charges.
Poor girl was just on the phone, she was going, no, Shane, I don't care if you're calling from Australia, just stop calling.
Some people who shush you during the ads. You know, before the movie started.
Yeah.
I reckon you're allowed to talk through the ads.
Absolutely.
That's really annoying. I turn around and go, oh, shush yourself! You know, you go to the cinema and you turn into an 85-year-old woman. You just go, who's that? Who's that making that noise? Which one of you doing that?
Hey, didn't she? It was during Brokeback Mountain too, right? So maybe she thought she was being hit on.
There was a term that she used, that she'd invaded her special area. That's what she said. She'd invaded her special, which does actually sound like a pickup line, doesn't it? Hey, baby, you want me to invade your special area?
Maybe she's just overly sensitive, and you know, you
but
could have.
Spock, when he did that, you know, death grip like that, was on the shoulder.
Oh, really?
Some people might be sensitive to that.
That was.
She was some kind of angry Trekkie.
I don't know. I want to see how you react in this country. That's all. They just went on watching. They didn't care. So apparently it's our problem. So why don't we just shit on my country a little bit more? Why don't we? Huh? That is un-Australian, my friend.
You're not the only country. There's a few problems with Brokeback Mountain in your country, wasn't there? Some of the country towns didn't want to play it.
Right.
Yes. I was at a country town called Albury recently, the other day. True story, going through the local paper, they had their premiere of Brokeback Mountain. They described the scene, they said it was all women who went and saw it, except for 2 men.
True or false, Dave? True or false? You've been cast in the sequel, Brokeback Mountain?
No, but I am a repressed country boy, so...
With that, like, you know, because there is some states in America that were a bit sensitive. Have you found that with your stand-up? Because you would have toured across the country. Is there places where, you know, that your stand-up, you're not from round here, boy, sort of thing?
A little bit. They're very religious in the middle of my country. In America, they want the kids to be abstinent. They don't want, so they try and scare them into marriage by telling them, like, even if you touch somebody's genitals, you can get pregnant. But, I mean, don't they get it? Abstinence leads to marriage, and marriage leads to abstinence. When are the kids supposed to screw? I mean...
Dr. Cindy, you're our medical expert. Can you get pregnant just by touching someone's genitals?
Well, there are stories where this woman got pregnant by being stabbed.
Really?
Yeah, she was caught by her boyfriend fellating another man. And, like, she got caught and then all the sperm went on her. And her boyfriend was so angry he stabbed her.
Yeah.
And then, like, 9 months later, she fronted up an emergency with terrible gut pains and she delivered a baby. Right. And what had happened was, you know, when she got stabbed, like, the sperm got to enter her pelvic cavity and, like, made its way through the fallopian tubes and planted a baby. So...
Didn't do it.
But the interesting thing about this case was... This
wow, that's like MacGyver meets Sex in the City.
This woman
So you should put condoms on your knives.
Kids, practice safe stabbing.
No, she should have been wearing a bib.
Well, I think in this instance, this woman actually... I think she didn't have a vagina or something, so they thought it was like a really crazy thing that she would never ever get pregnant. This was the only way she could have gotten pregnant, is by being stabbed.
So whose baby is it? Is it which one? The guy who stabbed?
The guy she was fellating.
Yeah.
Yeah, because like no one else would think to put it through that way.
So how unlucky is he? He thought he was just, you know, getting that and he ended up with a baby. I mean, she's unlucky as well. But the baby got a chance for
No,
life.
but she was lucky because she thought she was infertile.
Oh, really? She thought she was infertile?
Well, because there was
that was the best day of her life.
I can't remember this story really well, but like I think there was something whereby there was something unusual about her in
Yeah,
choices.
she could only get pregnant by being stabbed.
I read it a while ago, but it's a true story.
Our next mover and shaker is the influential magazine Foreign Policy, which has found that Australians are more hostile than ever towards the United States. That's because...
Stop there.
That's because thanks to our increasing abortion rate, most of us are now Muslims. Only 29% of Australians have a mainly positive attitudes towards the US, while 60% are mainly negative. Furious Americans have responded by renaming Ozzy Osbourne Freedom Osborne. Only the French and Germans are less enthusiastic about the US than Australians. Oh, and the Iraqis. I don't know what their beef is. Happily, there is some good news for the US from the survey. America is more popular than Iran. And Bush is marginally more popular than Hitler, Castro and Jar Jar Binks. Orny, you love that Star-Spangled Banner. Are we too hard on the home of the brave?
I don't know. You might have a case against us. You might. But here's the deal. We don't give a crap what you think of us. It's not like we're over there doing polls about how we feel about Australians. You know? We don't care. You don't have oil.
Maybe you're in denial about that.
What do you mean?
You said that so, like, so strongly, like maybe you're in denial.
Yeah, we don't care. We don't care. Just keep your dollar down and your beaches clean. And we'll come visit. That's all we care about. Because you're like our little bitch. You're just... Yeah, you're like the little brother that we can't get rid of. We're like, we're going to Afghanistan. You're like, oh, can we go too? Can we go too? We want to go. We want to go. What's going on?
So what you're saying is America is Mr. Burns and we're Smithers.
Sure.
What about when you're being in Australia? Is there anything about like Australia that has like freaked you out? Have you ever tried Vegemite?
Yeah, shite. That bunch of crap that is. That's the worst 5 minutes of my entire life. Don't tell me the way we treat our prisoners in Abu Ghraib is worse than eating Vegemite.
Those soldiers in that prison have got to realise just because the prisoners are smarter than them doesn't mean that they're not as good as them.
Cindy, what do you think? Are we too hard on the US?
Well, I mean, probably what you say is true. Like, we would like Americans to care about us more. So I think there's a bit of inferiority and a bit of superiority complex. Like, we like being able to say, oh, Bush is stupid, oh, and they don't know anything about, I don't know, ecology or whatever. But we like they've got good stuff.
How about a thank you for the jeans? TV?
Well, that is really what we're like. We hate America now. I'm going home to watch Lost.
George Bush is an example of when democracy doesn't work. Did you, or when he'd be told, did you vote for him?
Yes.
I don't know. No, I didn't. I did absolutely no.
You don't even have to vote if you don't want to, do you?
Well, yeah, you guys get fined if you don't vote.
And you get George Bush if you don't vote.
Our favourite movers and shakers this week are some of the world's top neuroscientists who found that married women under extreme stress who hold their husbands' hands feel immediate relief. When the female subjects were given mild electric shocks, they received significantly more relief from their husband's touch than from a stranger's, which makes sense, especially when the stranger in question is the one giving them the mild electric shocks. Of course, most married women under extreme stress don't reach for their husband's hand, they reach for his throat. Conversely, couples who hold each other's feet have unusually high stress levels, particularly if there's tinea or extra toes involved. Dr. Cindy, you're our healthcare professional tonight. How good is holding hands?
Well, I mean, I think holding hands is good. I think a hug is really good. Like, I really like having a hug.
Yeah.
But, like, sometimes I think, like, you know, you have to ask for a hug. And
you like it more than your husband, don't you?
Well, yeah, like, sometimes I have to ask for a hug and...
Yeah.
Like you, I mean, the thing is, apparently you're asked nicely, like, whereas I say, you never hug me, and like that doesn't yeah, like
you win.
And then yeah, so that's really hard.
As a man, we treat hugging and holding hands as the price we have to pay to get a root.
When you most need a hug, you don't feel like asking nicely.
I've never had a boyfriend who would hold my hand in public. I had one who we had an agreement in the end where we could walk down the street without palms touching. But I decided against that because I thought we'd look mental. Why is it so hard to hold hands? Why do so many men have trouble doing that? Isn't there that country
where men go around linking pinkies? I think
that's Brokeback Mountain.
It is actually like when men hug. Have you ever seen men hug? Because they don't hug like women hug, but they hug and they go, hug, and they like, I'm hugging you and I'm hitting you.
And yeah, with the legs back to the groins, don't go anywhere near each other.
I was holding hands with a girl once and I was about to finish and then I stabbed her and she got pregnant.
You know what? I hope someone started watching halfway through the show.
Is there medical studies on, like, you know, like things that relieve stress, like things that partners do, whether married people, you know? I had a doctor. Is this appropriate? Can I ask you a question? I was on to the doctor, and you know how, like, doctors, for some reason, no matter what you're, like, sick as a guy, they decide to hold your balls and make you cough. I don't really understand why, but they always just go, oh well, my leg hurts, or better check your balls. And I swear this is true. A doctor had my men in his...
Hold on a second.
Yeah, let's bring them in together.
Okay. No, fair enough. Like, the doctor had my... The doctor and his assistant had my balls, right? The thing was that started making conversation with me and he was just like, hey, I heard you went on a date with Nicole Kidman. You're holding my balls!
And if he doesn't start talking, it's even weirder, because then there's silence and you're like, what's he thinking?
I think...
You don't want him to be thinking, oh, they're nice balls. Rather than talking about something else.
How sad is it that the doctor got further than Nicole Kidman?
Good point.
I had a dentist that I used to go to who, when I got... I don't have balls, okay? The stroking is kind of
You really have to finish this story.
I had a dentist I used to go to, and when I got injections, his assistant would hold my hand. Well, that's unnerving, though, when you haven't asked for it. Someone just reaches over and goes...
Well, there's this story about, like, you know, when people have to give a rectal examination, and I don't know if it's true, but, like, they say that one of the pranks you can play on a patient, I wouldn't do it, but is, like, when somebody's, like, one guy is giving him an examination,
putting the finger up his arm.
No, someone else comes and puts both hands on his shoulders.
Later in the Glasshouse, the Liberal Party reveals John Howard could step down any day now.
Well, they've been saying that for 85 years.
Things go wrong when a visiting rock star orders a hooker and a night's supply of ecstasy. And Russell Crowe admits his rock band is often mistaken for a random collection of instruments being thrown down some stairs.
That's how bad a shape we're in.
American teenagers have come up with a great new pastime, backyard wrestling. Nearly every weekend they get together to demolish furniture and bash each other senseless with chairs and fluoro tubes. Add some wacky sound effects and that wins funniest home videos for sure.
Well, you know what? If that was my kid and I saw that, I'd be even happy if they were taking the fluoro tubes, putting them in their closet and growing hydroponic dope. Even that's a better option.
Well, you're going to be a cool mum.
She can't even get a guy to hold her hand, and now she has kids?
She might get stabbed.
Oh, fingers crossed.
I love that.
What sort of knife would you like?
I don't want to get stabbed.
Oh, little Miss Prudish.
In Sydney, police are trialling 50,000-volt stun guns for use on rioters and criminals. Most of the TV news bulletins had footage of the guns in action, but there was one shot I didn't quite understand. See if you can spot it. Freeze! Nobody move!
I'm thinking the clip of the cow wasn't really a stun gun clip, is what I'm thinking, right?
Yeah.
The cow...
Well, I don't know. Was that in one news break?
That was in the one news break. They showed all those things, and at the end there was like the cow.
Yeah, like the cow was just in the wrong place.
Well, cows commit crime.
I did nothing, Governor.
You know, I saw that cow on a flight to Bali.
Bonnie, have you been following the plight of our Bali Nine?
Well, since I got here, but before I got here, I thought the Bali Nine was a rock group. Here's the update on the Bali Nine. I'm like, oh, good, they're touring again.
Yes, it's time to award the coveted Glasshouse trophy, which this week is called... of the Naughty Night Nurse Hot Pink Thermometer is a doctor from the small New Zealand town of Coopers Beach who's closed his medical practice and is reopening for business as a brothel keeper. What's up, Doc? I can see the sign on the door now. The doctor is in, the doctor is out. The doctor is in, the doctor is out. The doctor's in, the doctor's out. So the trophy goes to Madam Dr. Neil Benson. Now, it might not be their accent when local Kiwis say they need to visit the clinic for a sucky. Well, that's the way it is for Wednesday, February the 22nd. Thank you, Cindy. Thank you, Audie. And let's take a look at tomorrow's headlines. The Territory News says Japan's sorry for destroying Manila in World War II. Thought there might be whales there. USA Today reports shot lawyer apologises to Dick Cheney for headbutting him in the bullet. Le Monde reports Aussie gold at Turin. Sadly, writing your name in the snow, not an Olympic sport. And the Herald Sun says Packer funeral can't save 9 ratings, but Maguire funeral might. Good night.
You can